Hey, what's up, everybody? It's me, Danae, and I'm here with a message for you. Happy Tuesday, one and all. It's October 29th, 2024. Hope you're doing well and swell on this fine day. I am looking forward to seeing what the message is today. Starting off with a bang on Monday. And we're revving up for new moon in Scorpio on the 1st, which is Friday. So the energy is already upon us. Govern yourselves accordingly. I may come through with a message tomorrow on that because I know Halloween is I'm probably going to be hitting it and quitting it on Halloween to get out and about and do whatever we're going to do. So unless I end up doing a late night message on Halloween, I don't know. We'll see. But either way, I may talk about the full moon tomorrow. The new moon, but it is in Scorpio. So sometimes new moons and Scorpios can act like full moons. So it's interesting that it's coming the day after Halloween, but we're already, again, in the energy. So please do govern yourself accordingly, especially if you're gearing up to be out and about or at festivities and functions and parties and stuff. Like, just keep your senses on high alert because, yeah, a new moon in Scorpio definitely reads like full moon sometimes. It has all the bells and whistles, just, by cosmic design. So anyway, I think it's certainly just going to be a powerful time for new beginnings. Like some real powerful changes are underway. I can already sense that. Nothing to be afraid of or paranoid about or anxious about unless, you have some particular cause for alarm on the account of what you've been investing in or manifesting. But generally speaking, if you've been looking forward to positive changes, look no further. You found them. All right. Look at this. I love it. Yes, the Fool card. And I see something peeking out. So I'm going to see, what is it? The Knight of Cups. Interesting. Let's see. That's funny. Whenever I say look no further, I always automatically hear Clayton Bigsby in my head. The Dave Chappelle skit. But anyway, the Fool card is new beginnings. It's just what I'm saying, and it's really positive new beginnings, something to look forward to, a new adventure, new discovery, something that you may not necessarily be able to strategically and specifically plan for. Like you might not be able to plan for every single detail and or to know even what to expect along the path, but generally speaking, the Fool is something to be excited about, to kind of just trust and take a leap of faith or trust in faith for the next leg of the journey. Pack light. Don't take too much baggage with you spiritually or physically. And just trust. Just trust the divine. Especially, again, like I said in the beginning, if you're operating on in an optimistic perspective with positive intentions, you have every reason to trust freely, to be sure that whatever it is that you are embarking upon is for your greatest good. The Knight of Cups. Only thing different is that, I could switch these around. It could, maybe direction isn't so particular here because I could have easily have laid him here and him here, but the Knight of Cups is pulling in an opposite direction. So I don't know. I don't really know what that signifies, to be honest. It gives that maybe it could be your emotional self that could even be like your, let's say, your comfort or your, I could say like your desire for certainty or security, perhaps. I mean, it can be two different types of energies with the Fool, as I said, kind of just jumping out there and really going to see what shall be. So this Knight of Cups could be that energy of complacency that kind of wants to reel you in to be more settled, more secure, more sound, more assured of your positioning or even of your direction, which sometimes can work against divine direction, when we're trying to pull things to go and, by our own intentions exclusively instead of co-creatively. So I would say if there's any thought about that, that would be it in terms of allowing yourself to be pulled in two different directions. And really the horse is transporting the Knight in this case, even though it's more or less implied that the Knight has control over the horse, or should. So maybe it's a matter of really being the master of your emotional balance and openness with the changes that are underway, not allowing yourself to be too oversaturated in one emotion or the next, especially when you're in transition, because, there's a lot of adjustment. You kind of have to be flexible to whatever the shifts and turns and settlements may be to make the most of this experience. So maybe we're talking in that regard. And you could even, this horse could even represent external influences that may want to pull you in a different direction from where you feel most naturally guided. Even your emotions, where you're like feeling fancy free to move in a certain way, but there's something that almost is holding you back to question it, or to be skeptical or concerned in some way, shape, or form. Basically that baggage that would weigh you down from packing light and moving ahead swiftly and flexibly, as well as people and places and things that sometimes can kind of draw you to a place, or can try to anchor you to a particular place. More so about direction, though. So it could be people, places, and things trying to actually steer you into an ideal direction that in this case is suitable for them as the horse. But again, and it could be by way of emotional provoke or projection, worst case scenario manipulation, But as I said, the Knight is in control of this horse, as it should be. The man is overpowering the beast in some way, shape, or form. And that could even mean in terms of the things that seem uncontrollable on the internal self, or by nature, emotions particularly, that can be very delicate and impressionable. You are in control. You decide what value is assigned to what emotion, and also what gets to be released. As I said, just as much as this is a new moon coming up, it has the frequency of Scorpio, which means we're still we're still encouraged to be in a state of release for anything that doesn't serve anything, anyone, any place that is out of alignment with where you are presently and where you are intentional to go. So that's that on that. All right, so we're going to start fresh, like the full card. Let's see what we got. Six of Pentacles. Okay. I think the full, oh no, it's the Hierophant on the bottom. Pardon me. So this is some type of community affair, balanced, equal give and take, community sharing. Yesterday, this card was really prominent in terms of what goes around comes around. So there always being this cyclical nature even within society, and of course throughout nature itself, but in the constructs and establishments of nature as well, or of community, let's say, or society, community or society. So in the natural aspects of nature, but also in the man-made aspects of nature, there's always this cause and effect cyclical experience. And we have the Hierophant, which definitely represents that energy of the organism of society, maybe even a corporation, or just the structure of life, the contemporary structure of life, the traditional constructs and concepts of life. So this could be a passing on of tradition. What's this here? It's screaming at me. World card. Ending the cycle of traditions as we know it and beginning new ones. Oh, you heard that horn. Yeah, full card, new beginnings. And there it is, the emotional pull or draw, because not everybody is obviously going to be in alignment with the new order of things as it's unfolding. Some are ecstatic about it, looking forward to something new and even pioneering new ways of being and living. But some are very much still attached to the world as we know it, or in some cases as we knew it, because even what we knew really isn't what we know now. It's changing right before our eyes, whether we accept that or not. So there's something about that here, again, and that being pulled in multiple directions, where some people in that full energy might look like, look a little rebellious, or look like the oddballs or the odd men out to the mass of society holistically that is still active in tradition, or in the constructs of the world that are most conventional and familiar, while little by little, slowly but surely, people are popping out from that cookie cutter mold and kind of doing their own thing, going on their own discoveries, pioneering new paths, and so on and so forth. And it's good because it's creating the evidence of, it's creating the essence of this new cycle of life that gets to be circulated, new evidence of how life can, the success of life being lived in a new way or in a new fashion as opposed to the old fashion. Because it's one thing to say like, yeah, you know, things are changing, it's a new world, but it takes some convincing for some to be assured that there is security in those nuances. Otherwise, naturally, we all have the propensity to cling to what feels safe, you know. So here's this new cycle here after some closings, some endings, and the Hierophant. I wonder what that is, though, because this is something about leadership and particularly impressionable power positions and dynamics. We know we got an election coming up. So just what, 4 days off from the new moon. So who knows how that's going to play out, to be honest. But 9 times out of 10, I could bet money that it's going to be some type of spectacle or something shocking that may occur to what would generally be tradition and convention, and the structure that we're used to. And it'll be like the dawning of a new day. Like that'll be the set off moment. Maybe just in general, whomever comes out, you know, on top, so to speak, will be the actual change. I mean, either side is a big first, or, I mean, wouldn't it be funny if like the Green Party won or the Independents? That would be real wild. That would be a game changer. But both it would be a first with Kamala and with Donald. They're both first in their own right at this time. So I don't know. But I feel like it's something a little bit more jolting than that we might ultimately be getting ready to experience or witness. We got the King of oh boy, yikes. The King of Wands here. Some type of betrayal is underway, or sabotage. Again, something shocking, but conclusive as well, though. It's like something shocking that could occur that brings something to an end, but also opens up a doorway for something else somehow. And then with the King of Wands, what is that representing? Let me get one on the King of Wands. Because I don't even know, to be honest. The King of Wands looking at a Nine of Pentacles. Well, this represents independence. The King of Wands represents the King of Wands can represent courage, innovation, creativity, confidence, boldness. But to the Nine of Pentacles, he's either distracted or focused. I don't know which one. Ideally, it being the king, he should be focused, but something about independence here. Pioneering some path of independence. Shoot, I just said, wouldn't it be funny if like the Green Party or the Independents won? So, but there's something that could happen here that could be like an upset. That's what it is. The Ten of Swords is like an upset to the process. So we're all, you know, preparing ourselves for this or that. Him or her, you know, to know for sure what it's going to be at some point between the 5th and the 6th. But there could be, I mean, we've seen an upset before, you know. We've seen an upset before. But I don't know, there could be a bit of an upset that, I don't know. What's on the bottom here? The Ten of Pentacles. That establishes a new legacy or a new dynasty. And then we got the King of Cups under here that was peeking out on the bottom. A new legacy of love, where love is leading the charge. So there's like a passionate drive for independence, perhaps driven by the people, you know, that in this case are united regardless of, you know, it just could be like differences of opinion that are united for one singular reason. And it could be independence, liberty, justice, whatever, you know, for freedom, for righteousness, for their own rights. Like there's some type of upset. Goodness, I hope it's not like, but where you could see different types of people that generally would be a this or that or this side or the other start to forge alliances together, or become more collective for a united cause, perhaps against the system, against the corruption of the system. Because I said the Ten of Swords it could be sabotage or betrayal, like for, you know, to bond together against some type of feeling of betrayal or sense of betrayal for independence sake. And with the King of Wands, you know, that's like a fierce, what do you call it? Like ambition. Once he zeroes in on something, it's as good as done, captured, seized, destroyed, like whatever it is the objective is for the King of Wands. Is really hard to throw that out of alignment, especially if, you know, it's purposeful. And especially if there's some support behind it. So I don't know. I don't know what we're talking. It's like more energetic today. Like usually I see people and specific energies in the card, but I'm seeing like representation. Go figure, that word, representation. And the Ten of Pentacles inheritance on the line, generational wealth on the line, legacies on the line. People are seeing the long-term view and are becoming more fierce to maybe protect it. That's also this energy here. The Knight of Wands, the King of Wands, kind of like lording over the Nine of Pentacles, almost to protect this sense of security and independence here that she represents. Let's see. Ooh, the Two of Pentacles. And the Seven of Swords. Here's the betrayal or the corruption. So we could be looking at something as primitively as ballot tampering again, or obstructing the polls or something like that, or some type of corruption going on at the polls. Because there's something about this 1-2 maybe double counting, you know, single votes. Something shady. I mean, I don't think anybody would be, I don't even, you know, like, I don't think that's even a surprise element to consider. But the fact that it's coming up on the table, it speaks more to what the effect of it may incite. Well, what effect may be incited by this cause than it actually does the cause itself. You know, it might incite a riot or some type of unrest. Like I said, upset, because people are just sick and tired. You rally up the people to participate in what's supposed to be something fair and balanced and just and equal. And you soup them up all year, past couple years long, to participate in this process because it's supposed to be a fair one. It's supposed to be dependable and reliable, only to find out that, and it feels like, you know, there could be speculation, of course, in years past, but it feels like something just blatantly obvious, like so obvious that it can't be ignored, swept under the rug, or discounted. Maybe literally discounting votes and so, I don't know, something shady here. It may even be on both sides of the aisle, as they say. But it's going to be something to piss a lot of people off. Now, what they'll do about it, or what they feel they can do about it, is something different. But yeah, because even with the Two of Pentacles, it might just be this uneasiness or uncertainty of like, what do we do with this evidence, or what do we do knowing what we know? I don't know. King of Cups again. And then the Three of Swords. Wow. So whatever it is, people are going to feel heartbroken. Yeah, it's really like betrayal. Heavy emphasis on betrayal. mistaking their kindness for weakness. And even the manipulation of energies to become emotional. Here it is, like emotionally invested in the process itself. Okay, so that could even be the propaganda that we've already been susceptible to, you know, in terms of the emotional tug for your vote or for your buy-in or for your agreement, and holistically from either side, which comes every time. It comes all year round politically in some way, shape, or form. But perhaps the upset is that people are just not so easily seduced anymore. And maybe the polls may show that where there's even this projection of it being so close and or more in one favor or the other, maybe the polls actually will project the true nature of the nation at this time, that are not so easily seduced and emotionally manipulated to side with one thing over the other when there's just no agreement, you know, with either. Which, generally speaking, there's probably, when people get really, really, really honest about it, there's probably a lot more people that don't have any particular allegiance to either side than there are those that are, you know, like exclusively pro one or the other. At the heart of the matter, I think there's generally a distrust for what anyone in that seat of power will do at this point, because there's been, at this point, we've seen that's the rare thing about this election, is that we've had a preview, more or less, of what either is truly capable of. We've seen 4 years with Trump. We've seen 4 years with Kamala, more or less, you know. So it's like you it's not like you're just blindly choosing or just off of the rhetoric and the propaganda and the promises. It's like you actually have evidence. That's probably what this is representing here, of the uncertainty or the indifference to some degree. That's usually more the Two of Swords for me. But in this case, it's the coins, because it's like I'm saying, there's evidence to point to the best and worst of either side that you couldn't ignore if you wanted to. So how you then wield that power, and in this case, the King of Cups is literally you pouring your energy into one thing or the other, which is very valuable. It's very valuable. It's precious energy, you know, to connect to either one, not just because your vote counts, you know, and it's literally the investment, the confidence that you are investing by making that choice that is fueling the system as it is. So like I said, there could be some bit of an upset this time around, that either this might be the last election we ever see in this fashion, you know, like it'll never be this traditional again. It might, in years to come, might look like something very different, or some level of independence that, you know, maybe our power structure changes a great deal after this cycle to emulate more of the evolution of society as it is, and where it's going at this point, and also on account of whatever it is that gets revealed, uncovered, or exposed this type of round, probably from either side or both sides, that will really put a bad taste in people's mouths to never trust so open-heartedly again. Because right now, like I said, there's still a lot of push and pull in multiple directions where we're used to the comforts and the complacencies of society as it's been conditioned for us to contribute to. So you almost feel like bullied to not participate in voting at all or choosing one person over the other, you know. But soon I feel like there's going to be a revelation this time around that makes everybody think differently. Like, what is it that we are actually investing our energy into? And does it even mean anything, you know? What's it all worth? Yeah, look at this, the Page of Wands. Considering new possibilities, new objectives, new ways to wield your energy, to funnel your passion. And where is it? Right up under this independence. Wow, for ultimate fulfillment. Because it's not just about even the material gain or establishment of legacies and generations. It's also about the well-being. And I think the powers that were, shout out to Shavi Zane, have more or less, how do you say it? Not miscalculated, but underestimated the evolution of humanity at this point to actually desire more, to act, first of all, see more and think more of themselves, and therefore demand and command more of creation, particularly of creation, again, in the man-made form. Because what's natural, you know, more or less we owe a debt to at this point, but what we have all been complicit in creating and facilitating and contributing to, that's something that can be changed. The minute that more than less people begin to realize their power and influence and actually begin to reassert it in ways that are impactful, that are creative, not just consumptuous. Is that a word? if you know what I'm trying to say. Just taking it all in, consuming it all, taking everything at face value, digesting the rhetoric, digesting the projections, and almost integrating it as your own. It's like to actually think creatively, autonomously at this point is what has been underestimated. You know, to almost consider creation to be as children that can just be, you know, reared to or fro. The only reason why this is a Page of Wands is because true independence is a new expression for most, if not all of us. So it is going to take some getting used to, some adjusting, some flexibility, you know, some realignment of your passions and and integrating of your divine purpose, and releasing of old ideals and mentalities and comforts and conditionings. But it's not because there isn't the potential for mastery here. It's already within those that even have the mindset to be more of a creator than they are a consumer. Not to say we don't need both, and there's not a place for all of it, but those that are more innovative and pioneering already have this high level of creativity stored within them, just kind of waiting to bust out. And that's kind of like what's become the power grid of creation, like almost the backup generator, you know, of power, efficiency, solar powered at that, get into it. That, as I said, the powers that were haven't really been too mindful of. Like they are, but they aren't. And I feel like there may be a bit of an upset as to how that power shifts and activates something new. I don't know exactly how and what that gets to be, but it's something new. And it's not anything that has been accounted for. I don't think you could account for it because there is no real point of reference for what this is. I mean, historically, there could have been in another time. Wow, star card. And what else? Wow, look at this. This accelerated power force. And look at that. Oh my God, this is amazing. I don't even know what this is, but I can tell by these cards it's powerful. Because we got the star right up, like I said, those that are already kind of have their eye on the prize are already well equipped with the energy that is needed to carry out the assignment, whatever that may be individually and collectively. But it looks very much like a Page of Wands situation. Maybe on sight, this is how these energies appear. But in fact, it's like I said, you can't account for you can't plan for a supernova and how it's going to make an impact in real time. And look at this. This is literally like supernova energy. Particular, select frequencies that are unassuming, that ultimately combust and create a chain reaction or some type of reactive transmission, energetic transmission that throws everything off balance in a good way. In this case, in a good way for those that, like I said, are in the market for it. Maybe not for those that were anticipating it being business as usual. And this is the star is, Aquarius energy, that again, revolutionary, pioneering for the greater good of the collective, but very much so still unique, out of this world, even celestial energy that can't be contained in the physical realm. So therefore, it absolutely cannot be anticipated to contest. Something's already in motion. Wow. Look at this, Two of Cups. And it's very much so balanced. So where I said it's throwing everything off balance for some, for others, it's putting everything exactly as it is supposed to be. making everything completely fair and equal and harmonious, leveling the imbalance in the realm. And it's like forging some type of new agreement. Again, something about this old to new, like new covenants, new understandings, new contracts, like something that's going to change the way we govern ourselves. Ooh, do y'all hear this? Govern ourselves. I don't even know. I don't even feel like it's time for that. That's why I'm like, it can't be just now. But whatever it is, it must be about to set us on that track. Because my human perspective, now my utopian mind can see differently, but my human perspective doesn't see how it could be possible that we could snap and be in a place where there is, you know, true independence and autonomy and independent governing and, you know, what do you call it? What's the word? Sovereignty. But something about this season, particularly maybe this Scorpio season, but of course centered around or circulating around the election, is setting us on that trajectory. Probably faster than my human eyes would project, but maybe not instantaneously. It might not be like a overnight, but it's some chain of events or some reaction that's going to be set off that is putting us on the path to sovereignty. Maybe even a split path. Maybe some will forge that way, you know, and some will not. And that was the meaning of the cards in the beginning. That some will be happy to trek that path in the Fool card, and some will be feel emotionally drawn in the other direction with the Knight of Cups. One more, please. Just one more. Ooh, and that's the Nine of Swords. Yeah, and like I said, for some, it's happy trails. But for some, it's a nightmare. It's a living nightmare. Like their worst nightmare come true. That dreaded day when more than less of, more than most of the masses would awaken to their individual potential and power, activated and asserted. Look at this, Eight of Wands. Would no longer be, in question about their value or the value of their presence, but would be assured of it, certain of it, and then would act out of that confidence. That's a living nightmare for the powers that were. Again, shout out to Shavi. But it's fair and balanced. It's the equal return for the corruption that has been imposed upon society. And here it is, the 7 of Swords, and the 9 is the 2 of Swords that I was thinking of, like the indifference, and that shall be the response. You know, this indifference to the karmic retribution that's incurred by those that have, you know, been insistent to be resistant to society evolving and expanding, ascending more so. There'll be no empathy, there'll be no sympathy. It'll just be a matter of fact. And that'll be a really, really tough place to be in for those that are used to helping themselves by way of others' misfortune or on account of others' misfortune. To now, again, like I said, what goes around comes around, the table's turning for it to now be coming around. It's going to be a really, to the human eyes, I think it's going to be hard to watch, but to the spiritual senses, indifference is key. To not be, again, too overly emotional, King of Cups, even Knight of Cups, too invested. There are certain things that must play out karmically, you know, to restore balance, that are not within the power of those that may be experiencing more favor and fortune than the polarity to interfere with, or else you can catch them spiritual hands too. You know, like it's just the time, you know, to look at the long-term view again of the 10 of Pentacles, the 10 of Cups, to really kind of, it's like you got to hone in on what you can do about you, for you, and for the legacy that you lead before you try to save the world. And particularly before you try to intervene or intercede between those that are are fallen from grace. I'm not talking about charity for charity's sake, for those that truly do need it and are, you know, in alignment to receive it graciously. I'm talking about feeling sorry for those that didn't feel sorry for anyone else when they were taking advantage of the imbalances in the system and in society. That's something that's a bit more tricky of a, you know, you do what you want. You may have your own calling, your own mission, your own destiny, but there's something to be said about indifference here, where you don't allow yourself to be empathically drawn into those that have some soul searching to do, because somewhere along the line they either lost theirs or sold it. There's not a lot you can do to help individuals like that, because it's time for them to ultimately help themselves. Pull themselves up by the spiritual bootstraps, so to speak, if they can. Magician card, at least. Exactly. Okay. And I was just about to say the good ones and the bad ones, but in this case, you know what time it is. You want to get entangled in this karma? Trying to help somebody that you felt an affinity for, you thought was a family member, a friend, a spouse, an ex, hell, even an enemy, for those particularly good-hearted, you know, as the King of Cups can be, and even the Knight of Cups, to want to, that could be the draw, like for your heartstrings to be pulled on, to just want to help everyone. Because you can, you know, you'll have the capacity to, you'll probably have the resources if you don't already. You definitely have the will and the mind to want to, and the spirit to do so. But there's something about protecting yourself in this season from the betrayal that ultimately will become your karmic debt if you interfere. So my suggestion is to be very discerning, also as the King of Cups would be, about where you lend your energy at this time and in this season, and even post, you know, as we're moving toward the end of the year and through the new year. 2025 is going to be very interesting, especially depending on who's in office. And, you know, the cleansing and clearing will not stop with Scorpio season. I'll say it that way. So you might see some releasing from this realm and from the planet, or suffering even, that occurs, like I said, that won't be pleasant to witness, but it's not necessarily your place to intercede. Very contagious, very infectious is karmic debt and misfortune and disfavor in this season. So you want to use your energy to spread as much good in the world, and to, again, pioneer new paths of existence, experience, exploration, so that, you know, hell, as people start to aliven themselves to the new, they'll have new discoveries to, you know, new footsteps to trail behind. Or, you know, again, it's for the legacy that is following in your path, in your footsteps, or hell, just to be an example for those that are bold enough to trailblaze their own. Either way, you got this intense focus on independence is what should be top priority at this time. There's nothing to reach back and grab and pull up right now that wouldn't be immediately infectious to your own advancement. And that sounds real harsh to say, but hey, like I said, you could be that Knight of Cups, you know, that's feeling drawn, you know, back to some other space and time, where you could be that Fool card that's moving ahead and pioneering new pathways unapologetically. Their choices definitely up to you, for sure. And it don't even really have much to do with the election, but I mean, the election might be a little bit of a litmus test, litmus, however you say it, test of where you stand. Are you still, you know, going along to get along? Are you still just taking the lesser of two evils, or whatever, you know, taking whatever it is that they're throwing at you and digesting it? Do you feel bullied into doing something that you really don't want to do, or pressured into it? Or are you content with making a stand in your own independent force for what you believe makes sense to you and is fortifying for your future, that may or may not look like what anybody else thinks or does? That's the biggest question, I would say, more so than what candidate or what issues or whatever. You know, like, where are you in terms of sovereignty, star power in this nation and on this planet and in this universe? So, yeah, I'll leave it there. I don't know what this is, but I guess, hey, we'll be finding out soon in some way, shape, or form, I suppose. But y'all stay safe out there, you know, and until next time, as always, I leave you with peace.